Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Sleep Baby Sleep podcast. So I'm Sonia. This is Nat.
Hi.
And as you can tell, we are both French, but this podcast will be mostly in English. For people that might not speak French or understand French. So as you can tell, I'm a little nervous. It's the first time we record a podcast, but we have so much info to share with you. So we thought that creating a podcast would be the best way to share all that knowledge and experience. So, like I said, my name is Sonia, and I started this business called Sleep Baby Sleep because I had my son. So I have a son. His name is Louis. He's going to be 4 in a month, actually. So yeah, by the time you listen to this, he's probably already 4. And having Louis changed, obviously, my life in a lot of ways. But the thing that was the most drastic was the lack of sleep. So I became super overtired, and that's how I discovered the world of infant sleep. And I decided to go for my certification in 2021 and launch Sleep Baby Sleep. And my background prior to that too, I have a bachelor in home economics from Université de Moncton. So I kind of already loved working with families and helping families. So yeah, this is a little blurb of who I am, I guess, and we might get into more conversations. But now Nat will introduce herself.
Hello, I'm Natalie and I'm from Moncton. I'm also a mom. I'm a mom of 2. My kids are 3.5 and a little bit over 1 year old. And in my life, I'm a teacher, so I work with kids every single day. I'm also not a certified sleep coach yet, but I'm an aspiring sleep coach, and I just joined Sonia recently, and we've been working together for a couple of months. So I'll be tagging along with her until she gets tired of me, that is, and then
I don't think I will. Nat is kind of like, she's the one that keeping me on track. So it's like, we have this. If it would have been me, I would have just winged, I wing everything.
outline.
Yeah, so she keeps me on point, which is awesome. Well, maybe Nat, I would love for you to explain a little bit why you decided to sleep train your little one, or why did you decided to make sleep a priority, or I'm curious.
So like you and like a lot of other mothers out there, the first big shock when you have your baby and you're at home and you get settled in your things is, oh my God, I'm so tired. So just like other people, I started questioning and seeing like, okay, what can I do to help myself and help my baby sleep more so I can sleep more?
Because you were not in the mindset that this is it and it is what it is. Like, you knew you could probably do something.
Honestly, I had no idea that sleep hygiene and sleep training was a thing. When I was getting ready to have my baby, I went for a course on breastfeeding and labor and delivery and all of those things, but sleep was never something that any specialist, any doctor, not even any of my friends at the time ever spoke to me about. So it was not anything that I've ever heard of. So when I started becoming myself sleep deprived, and my baby, my now 3.5-year-old, wasn't sleeping through the night very well, and she was crying a lot, and I was like, okay, is there something I'm doing wrong? What can I do better? And that's when I started looking at, okay, maybe we can do this sleep thing. So I started Googling and that's how I learned a lot of things about sleep. So it was fundamentally because I myself wanted to sleep more, and I wanted my baby to sleep more. And for me, it's important to have good sleep habits as an adult.
Yes.
And I knew that in children too, it was very important, but I had no idea that infant sleep was something.
Was a thing.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. And it's crazy to think that nobody talks about it. Like you said, like at the hospital, we have so many, appointments, never talk about sleep. And it's the hardest thing when you become a parent. It's the lack of sleep. So I guess I have a similar path than you. Like I had a doula for my delivery. I did all the like I had a lot of information before having Louis, but nothing on sleep. And it's what hit me the hardest was definitely a lack of sleep. And I had a friend that had taken care of babies, like I told you. And she was the one that suggested something like that and said to be consistent. And yeah, so that's when I discovered the world of infant sleep, but I had no idea it existed. And I'm in the mindset that I'm not stuck in something. I often think there's something I can do. I don't have to live this way. And that was my mindset at the time. I'm like, I don't need to suffer longer when there's things I can do. Yeah. So I took action. I'm like, I'm doing it. And I knew it might be hard, even though it wasn't. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that. I'm curious to see how was your experiencing with working on sleep with your kids?
So with my oldest, it was a lot of research and reading and talking with other people that have been in that when I eventually found these people, because initially they were not in my circle. So it was just talking and reading and a lot of reading actually, and researching, and the information wasn't necessarily there. Like I wasn't following Sleep Baby Sleep, and I wasn't following any of these sleep people because I never knew these people existed. So when I started researching and reading, I started following these people and reading more, and eventually it started becoming something that I was more knowledgeable about. So I just put in action what I was reading, and I was successful with it. And it eventually became not a passion, but then it wasn't a passion, but then I started becoming successful and wanting to help other people. Like you do not have to suffer this way.
Exactly. And people were reaching out because when you help one, like a mom, obviously she talks and she wants, so her friend knows about you and everything.
Exactly.
And that's actually how, I guess, maybe not you can, I'm curious, you can, share maybe how you, why and how you decided to want to join Sleep Baby Sleep.
So that's the thing. So when I started becoming successful with my sleep training, and my baby was sleeping long hours and having great naps and sleeping through the night and always happy. That's one thing that everybody around me was telling me, like, what do you do? Like, why is she always so happy? And I was just saying healthy sleep habits all the time. And then people started asking, like, can you help me? Can you tell me what you did? Like, what's the secret? I need to know. So then that's when I started helping people. And eventually I had almost had like 20 moms that I had helped sleep train, and I was having a conversation with one of my close friends who I helped sleep her 2 kids. And she was like, you know what? She was like, Sonia from Sleep Baby Sleep. And I was like, yeah. She's like, you love doing this so much. You should reach out and see, like, is that something is she interested in growing her business? Is she interested in having somebody else work with her? And so I did. I followed her advice, and I reached out to Sonia, and this is where we are now.
I know, and that was in October, I think.
Yep.
Because I remember receiving this long message from Nut. I'm like, is this like a gift from God? Because at that time I was feeling a little overwhelmed and kind of wanted another brain with me. And I was also going on this big sleep retreat with other sleep consultants in like a few days or the next week. And I wanted to really talk business and see where I want to Sleep Baby Sleep to go, I guess, and how to grow and everything. So it was like the perfect timing. And when I met you, instantly it clicked, and I was like, this is like what's missing, because you have different strengths than I do, really, and we like different things. So like her organization skills are way better than mine. What actually prompted me to meet you was the fact that you've already worked with some families, and that we have we have groups of friends. We know similar people. So you were not like a full stranger.
Yes. And exactly. And we have the same values and ways of, because the sleep industry is very large. It's very, very large, and it's full of different ways of thinking and different values. So we were aligning in that sense as well.
That is true. Like that was my thing when I was meeting. It was like, do we have the same values, and personality wise, do we click or not? Because obviously it's important when you work with someone if you get along or not.
Exactly.
But that's true. True. It all aligns. So it was awesome.
Tell us why you decided to sleep train.
Personally, so for me, I don't know. It was probably one of the lowest in my life actually I've been, to be honest, when I decided to do something about sleep, because I was so sleep deprived. I was not myself. And I was so sleep deprived that I was seeing shadows, like black shadows.
Wow.
It was at that point. And I'm like, this can't, I was even at the point where I no longer wanted to wake up to feed Louis. Like Dad needed to bring him to me. I was like, no, I don't want to feed him. Like I was at that point. Probably a mix of a postpartum depression, anxiety that at the time I had no idea, but I'm sure the sleep was the main factor too. And so yeah, something needed to change. And even me deciding to take the little course and work on Louis' sleep, Dad was not on board. Like I did that all by myself.
Wow.
Kind of like behind
That
his back.
happens a lot, eh? That the dad
I
is
see
not
that
on
with
board.
clients.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was like I was fully in, and the first few nights it was starting to get better, and then he was on board, but like I needed to prove to him that it would work. And I can't say that it was really sleep training because it was only 9 weeks. It was basically sleep hygiene. So working on like great sleep habits and teaching Louis slowly how to fall asleep independently, basically, and working with wake windows at that time, and yeah, making sure to put him down awake. It was all those little things, but it was crazy how it drastic. And like you said, people were always telling me like, oh, you have such a happy boy and he's always in a good mood. I would go to Mommy Fit and moms would comment and it's like, and I would tell him, you started sleeping through a night at 12 weeks and they were all jealous. I'm like, well, I don't have a unicorn kid. I just, put in the work and created a great sleep foundation. Like it's achievable for them too, and that's when I was like, holy shoot, there's clearly a demand for this, and I had a little bit of knowledge, but not enough to help other families. But I'm like, I think I need to do it. I just need to do that for the community because there's definitely a lack. But not for me, it was definitely hard times. And that's when I decided to make changes.
Yeah. And people don't have to stay in those hard times, right?
No.
There's always somebody out there that can help. And
yeah,
even if you don't think it exists, like in my case, I never even knew there was a sleep, like sleep trainers were even a thing, or sleep hygiene was even a thing for infants. I thought in my head, babies, all they do is sleep and they can fall asleep by themselves. I had no idea that you had to teach them how to sleep by themselves.
Exactly. Or like in my mind, I thought that I needed to put Louis to sleep before putting him down.
That
I was doing it the other way around.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, I'm like, I need to put you to sleep so that you sleep.
Because that's what we always saw in movies. That's what they show in not even in movies. Well, yeah, but in other generations, that's what they did too, right? Yeah. Like,
I know. It's crazy, yeah. So the things that were like natural or what I thought would be a natural instinct was not what I was supposed to be doing.
And let's like circling back to like a long time ago, people had so many babies. They didn't have time to rock every baby to sleep, right? So they probably naturally developed their own ability to fall asleep by themselves.
100%.
When they had big families, they couldn't do that.
I went for a walk with my mom yesterday and we were talking about that. When they had 12 kids, do you think that they would helicopter around the kid and rock them gently?
No, didn't have time for that. So the kid had to learn how to fall asleep on their own because they were on their own.
Basically, yeah, which makes sense. And now we're like totally the other way, a little too far. I think we're gonna move back hopefully in the middle, but then we obviously can offer support to our kids and everything, but they still need to take the lead and they can learn to fall asleep on their own.
Right. So like for my first child, it was like complete blind, had no idea what I was doing, nothing existed, and then eventually I learned and blah blah blah. So for my second child, it was healthy sleep habits from the hospital.
I know,
from day one.
And it makes a difference, huh?
Huge difference. Minimal crying. I mean, there will be crying. It comes with it. Babies cry. That's how they communicate. But minimal crying. And I had so much more knowledge and I was so much more confident that if it wasn't for a lot of other factors, it would not scare me to have a third child. Mathieu, if you're listening, there will not be a third child, but I'm just saying.
I know what you mean, and it probably took away that anxiety. Like another thing that I forgot to talk about, I was always like so pissed off and nervous at bedtime. It's like, am I going to get 1 hour sleep? Am I going to sleep for 10 minutes? And am I going to be able to, like, it was how much sleep am I going to get tonight type of thing. And
you like me, like I was obsessed at like going in my bed, getting on my phone and being like, okay, calculating. I think I'm gonna have 42 minutes of sleep tonight. Let's go. And then
I'm not the type that can just fall asleep like that.
Yeah.
So I was so mad that it's like, what's the point of even trying to fall asleep because I'm gonna sleep with that cycle.
Yeah, like what's the point of being asleep for 42 minutes? I'll be more tired in 42 minutes when I wake up. Yeah.
Oh no, And at that time, I thought it was going to be like that forever. In my
Yeah.
mind, it was only
Yeah.
9 weeks, but I thought I was in that for years.
Yeah.
Like,
And you ask yourself, like, what did I do? Like, was it a good idea to have a child? What have I done
and
to my life?
especially me, like, we was not surprised. So like, it was a big lifestyle change.
Mm.
A big lifestyle change. I'm like, I'm not up for this.
Mhm.
But yeah, now I see moms in that situation. I'm like, well, we can work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
You
that
don't
way.
have to stay in that position.
No, exactly.
Mm.
And I promise them it's not gonna be like that forever. But in the moment, you feel it's gonna be.
You totally do. And people say it's temporary and you don't believe them
No.
until you become that person who's telling
You
someone
need
else.
to live it.
Yeah.
You need to
Yep.
live it. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we actually chat a lot. It's fun to have back and forth.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add before we talked about maybe how this podcast is gonna go?
Not really, but I
No?
thought I was going to be more nervous and I'm not. So I think it's going to be fun.
Yes. Yeah, no, podcasting is gonna be fun. Well, we love to talk. So me and Nat now we meet weekly virtually because it's easier and we chat. I'm like, that's why we need to start a podcast because all the things we're chatting about, I feel would be fun to listen to and good. Yeah, can take some nuggets from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, some nice info.
Mhm.
And I picked your brain for behavior things. So yeah, that's maybe things that we'll chat in this podcast too. And so maybe we'll talk about, we'll do a weekly podcast. We'll release it every Tuesday. And this is our plan. And we will also, if you want to make sure you don't miss our podcast, you can join our email list. It is on the Sleep Baby Sleep website or the link in my bio on the Instagram, Sleep Baby Sleep handle. And then this podcast will mostly be about infant sleep and motherhood. And we are also going to get to know each other because technically we don't know each other that well. I mean, even though we feel like we've known each other forever, I mean, we're obviously going to discover things. So yeah, hopefully it'll be entertaining for you. And I will also have some guests, people that work with similar clients or in the motherhood field. I already have 2 that are interested, so I'm excited. I haven't even shared that with you. And so I reached out with a few in the community. And also, if you would like to be a guest, let's say you were one of a Sleep Baby Sleep client, or you kind of went through your own sleep journey and you want to share some things, and we would love to have you on our podcast. So please reach out, and probably Instagram is one of the easiest ways. So send us a DM on Instagram. Or if you are also like a specialist in anything, like if you're a doula, or if you, I don't know, anything like related to motherhood and kids 0 to 5, that would be really fun. Also, we will answer a weekly question. So if you have a sleep question that you would like for us to answer or talk over, send them. Also, a DM in Instagram is the easiest way. Send your question and we'll pick one weekly. And oftentimes we'll try to pick one that goes with the topic of the week. So if we don't use your question, it's been a few weeks, we might use it in the next few weeks type of thing. And we will let you know. We'll try to let you know when we will use your questions because you'll be able to see that podcast. We'll send you the number of that podcast. Anything I forgot, Nat, before?
Nope.
No, I think I'm good.
So
It's all your notes that's helpful. Okay, well now please go have a follow on Sleep Baby Sleep on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe to this podcast. Leave a review. We appreciate you.
5 stars, please.
And yeah, we can't wait to start this. I think it's gonna be fun. So see you next Tuesday. And next Tuesday we will talk about sleep debt.
Sleep debt. Da, da, da.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.